Our culture was decimated and indoctrinated with lots of mental enslaving lies by the white society. They lied to us from the beginning, and they lied to us about everything. We fell for their lies because we didn't know that such level of deceit existed. We didn't even have a name for it. And they've never stopped feeding mental enslaving lies into our minds. And today, many of our people are so mentally enslaved by those lies that they fight against those of us who try to free their minds from those lies. Many of our people's identities are so attached to those lies that they don't know how to exist without those lies. This is especially true in regard to their religious beliefs. But our people must learn the truth in order to emancipate our minds from our white mental enslavement. Therefore, we must keep teaching the truth to our people, even though many of our people have been brainwashed to hate those of us who teaches it. The truth is more powerful than most people understand. The truth has a vibrational frequency that's more powerful than any lie. All you have to do is keep repeatedly telling the truth, and it will eventually prevail over the lies. Maybe not today, but the truth will eventually prevail. And a mind once expanded to a greater radius by the truth cannot return to its original smaller dimensions because the truth won't allow it to. Once the truth has been seen, it cannot be unseen. Once the truth has been heard, it cannot be unheard. Once the truth is explained, it cannot be unexplained. It's in this way that the truth is like a virus to the white society that relies upon lies to maintain its social dominance. It's why they've killed all of our leaders that have spoken the truth. It's why they've socially engineered millions of us to be afraid to speak the truth. It's why they've spread so much disinformation and misinformation into our communities to prevent us from learning the truth. It's also why whenever we post truths that contradicts their lies, Facebook shadow bans it, TikTok blocks it, Twitter deletes it, Google hides it, YouTube bans it, and the white mainstream media censors it, and white government forbids it. The truth is highly disruptive to the white society that sits upon a throne of white empowering lies. This is why they work so hard and unrelentingly behind the scenes, deploying suppression tactics to keep the black masses from learning the truth. They don't want us learning any liberating truth. Because most people can only communicate with a paradigm they're familiar, most black people say that our current situation is connected to the Bible. They say that our situation is what it is because we are God's chosen people of the Bible. But the people we truly are would never use the term of God's chosen people. Critically think. An infallible God who is the creator of all life would never create a narrative that one group of people is his chosen people. All good parents knows to never tell their children that one child is above the rest. So certainly an all-knowing God knows that as well. The narrative of a chosen people is proof that the Bible was written by Europeans, because that narrative is consistent with their inherent narcissistic tendencies. A long time ago, a group of Europeans created a backstory that falsely boasted themselves, their group. In addition to making themselves into Jews based upon the fictional accounts found in the Bible involving fictional Jews being enslaved in Africa's ancient Egypt, they also created the narrative that they're God's chosen people. Because of the inherent wisdom of the people we truly are, that's a narrative that we would not use. That comes from a European mindset. We are indeed a special people, but it has nothing to do with the Bible. Our truth is greater than the Bible, because the Bible is an easily proven work of fiction once you start researching facts. The reason why we are the most marginalized, the most denigrated, the most dehumanized, the most criminalized, and the most murdered by the white society is because in all warfare, the greatest threat is always attack the harshest. It's a rule of war. In a warfare, you must take down the biggest threat and greatest adversary. They heavily tarnish our image to prevent us from gaining any social capital that will make us as a threat to the system of white supremacy. They dehumanize us to make others insensitive to our plight. They vilify us to falsely validate their mistreatment of us. They keep us believing the fraudulent worst narratives about ourselves because doing so demoralizes us, divides us, makes many of us self-loathing, and shifts our collective aggressions away from the white society and redirects it against ourselves. And as long as they keep us within this condition, they can then rule over us forever. If the white society did not do these things to black people, they would then be diametrically opposing their own self-interests. Because black people are the greatest threat against a system of white supremacy. Many people would certainly find that last statement laughable, given how effectively the white society has tarnished and denigrated and marginalized the image of black people. However, a fact that has remained consistent throughout world history is that the oppressor's depiction of the oppressed is never a true one. It's always negatively distorted to serve the oppressor's nefarious hidden agendas. This fact has remained true for centuries and is still especially true now in regards to black people living under white dominance. The white society's negative depictions of black people actually bears almost no resemblance to our reality whatsoever. It has been severely negatively distorted. All black societal narratives, statistics, study results, and even mainstream media images are controlled exclusively by the white society. Whether you like it or not, the white society therefore literally owns the perception of black people. This fact allows the white society to easily negatively distort the image of black people in ways that serve their nefarious agendas, particularly in ways that aids them in maintaining their dominance over black people. They do so because they do everything in their power to keep us at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to show you the reality that the white oppressive forces don't want you to see. The true reality is the opposite from what millions have been misled to believe. There are many extraordinary things that black people have accomplished while under white oppression that causes the white ruling elites to deem black people as being the greatest threat against the preservation of white supremacy. Information that are deliberately withheld from the public because they refute the claims that whites are inherently superior to blacks. Those who are standing upon our necks knows intimately well how great we truly are. Case, point, and proof. After slavery was abolished in 1865, most southern states passed laws designed to target and mass incarcerate the newly freed black population. In some southern states, they created black codes that punished freed men and freed women with jail time and large fines if they were found unemployed. Some were even made to work on the same plantations where they were recently freed from. This was slavery by another name. These black people were often arrested for merely attempting to assemble in public. Yet, in spite of this terrible situation and much more, in spite of being wrought by the continued injustice of white racism and having received no reparation, the advancement made by African Americans nonetheless was extraordinary. African Americans built many of our own self-efficient cities across the country. Those built cities often exceeded the neighboring white cities. This resulted in many white mobs rioting and destroying those black communities. Our black segregated schools made a significant difference in black illiteracy, which was 30% in 1919, it had dropped to less than 7% by 1955. Black illiteracy had almost disappeared in the North, and in some areas, black illiteracy was less than that of whites. Such was the case of New York. Furthermore, between the year 1870 through 1940, African Americans submitted 726 invention patents to the U.S. Patent Office. Those numbers more than doubled those submitted by whites during the same time frame. This scenario of black people outpacing white people in making inventions has never changed. It's merely concealed from the public through the white society's monopoly over information. The hidden fact is that in spite of cultural traumas wrought by the injustice of white racism and slavery, most inventions that have revolutionized the world were in fact either invented by black people or were directly inspired by early inventions by black people. Without black people, there would exist no airplanes. There would exist no automobiles, no working light bulbs. I know how I sound. I know. When a well-packaged web of lies has been sold gradually to the masses, over generations, the truth will seem utterly ridiculous and its speaker will sound like a raving lunatic. Nonetheless, those who know the truth must teach. African proverb. Without black people, there would exist no internet, no cell phones. We wouldn't have cameras and microphones on our cell phones. There would be no emails, no GPS, no hearing aids, no touch-tone phones, no caller ID, no home civilian security systems, no cataract laser removal scopes, no touch-tone phones, no motorized vehicles, no steam engines, no traffic lights, no elevators, therefore no skyscrapers, no air conditioning, no modern color PC, no 3D movies, no central heating, no refrigerators, no helicopters, no washing machine, no lawnmowers, no dryers, no refrigerated trucks, no blood banks, no fiber optics, no nanotechnology. We wouldn't have there'd be no female sanitary pads, no bathroom tissue holders, no pencil sharpeners, etc., etc. This is incredible, considering being wrought with the continued injustice of white racism and having received no reparations. This is extraordinary. The reality is white people invented the patent office and have always used it to steal the intellectual property rights from black people. Because in order for a black inventor to get their inventions mass produced, they have to go before white companies. These companies acquires the rights to these inventions and then places white faces in front of the inventions. This scenario literally allows the white society to continue exploiting the intellectual geniuses of black people while maintaining the perception that most inventions are coming from the minds of whites, while making black people appear to be the elites of society that haven't invented much. Through this whitewashing practice, the collective self-esteem of the white masses has been falsely bolstered, while those with black people has been lowered. In order for the white society to maintain its social dominance over black people, it's crucial to keep black people believing the fraudulent worse and the fraudulent lesser about ourselves. Doing so conditions us to perceive ourselves through a false inherent subordinate identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance over us. So deception is essential. The following may provide the scientific reason why it is that most inventions that have revolutionized the world were either invented by black people or were directly inspired by early inventions by black people. It's a fact that most people don't know. Africans have 9 DNA series, while all other racial groups have 6 DNA series. According to genetics, the higher the DNA series, the more likely genius exists among you. Africans are also the true Homo sapiens. Unlike other groups, Africans are not a part of the Darwin evolutionary chart. Unlike other groups that evolved from lower primates, Africans are the only true Homo sapiens. Other groups are actually called Homo sapiens sapiens. Wikipedia describes them as being modern humans that evolved from primates. They're totally separate subspecies, different from the African Homo sapien. The term Homo sapiens sapiens was deliberately created to fool the world to believe that we are all Homo sapiens. But the truth is, the repeated sapiens, that refers to primates. We are Homo sapiens. We've been scientifically proven as the only Homo sapiens. Now, this might disappoint some of you who like the premise that we are all of one family tree, but it's been scientifically proven. The name Homo sapien means wise humans. Homo is the Latin word for human or man, and sapiens derived from the Latin word meaning wise or astute. The name the wise humans was appropriately given in ancient times to the Africans because Africans introduced science, writing, math, and philosophy to the world. Africans invented the wheel, paper, the calendar, the concept of 24 hours in a day. Africans are the first to build in stone and to smelt metal. The world's oldest university, library, manuscript, encyclopedia, human prosthetic, mathematical tools, medical journals are all located in Africa. And long before the Europeans invaded Africa, it was Africans that civilized Europe. Africans introduced shaving, the use of toothpaste, perfumes, fragrance oil, deodorants, and even introduced the daily bath to Europeans. If you don't understand the system of white supremacy, everything you do will only drive you crazy because you don't understand what's happening. The white society exploits its control over information and the distorted facts, and facts that empowers themselves by exalting them and marginalize and denigrates us so they maintain their social capital over us. But your perception of reality is a white deception.